In the last video, this is where we ended up, and I was like, hey, everybody, you're going to have to take your job seriously because you could actually end up hurting or send someone to the hospital over the products that you are helping make. Go figure, because these are things that people are thinking is safe. They're thinking they're effective. They are believing that they have been made the right way, and, okay, that's assuming that you know how to do your job. So that, once more, is the purpose of the BioWork course, to give you a little bit more familiarity with all of the things that go on in the pharma and biopharma industries. All right, so we're going to have to kind of pause for a minute before we go further, and we're going to have to talk about all of the rules and the regulations that the government has placed on us as workers and has placed on us as facilities, because if we are making the thing, we got to follow what they tell us as well. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of Big Brother talk, and Big Brother talk basically means everybody's watching. So who's everybody? Well, that's the CFR. So the United States government has made what they call the Code, which is what the C stands for, of Federal, which is what the F stands for, and regulations. So the Code of Federal Regulations. And in the Code of Federal Regulations, I'm old school, folks, so I want you to go back and think about an encyclopedia set. So on your bookshelf, you had tons of books, and it was like, this book is for A through AC, and this book is for B, and this book is for C, and this book is for D, and blah, 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 blah. All right, so you had tons of books that made the collection up. That is how the Code of Federal Regulations is made. It is a series of books, and all together now we make the Code of Federal Regulations. All right, so that CFR will provide us regulations on everybody. That means all the way from the President of the United States and all the way down to a simple little can of green beans that you find in the grocery store. That is what you're going to find in the Code of Federal Regulations. That is correct. You might not know this, but if I was a green bean factory and I was putting green beans into a can, how can we make sure that they are doing their job the proper way? Well, guess what? There are standards, there are rules, there are regulations in place for these facilities to follow and for the workers to follow if they make a simple little can of green beans. Now, if you apply that to everything in life, you can kind of imagine what the Code of Federal Regulations is all about. Well, in one of those little books, again, think encyclopedia, tons of different books I got to choose from. Oh gosh, they're in alphabetical order. All right, well, in the Code of Federal Regulations, there is a certain area that really is specifically for us as laboratory workers and as manufacturers. And that is if we are in the food industry or if we are in the pharma and biopharma industry. And that is Title 21. So Title 21 is going to be specifically for what I'm going to call food and drugs. All right. And this is where we dance most of the time. And that's because we're getting ready to take a BioWork course that is specifically tailored to the drug industry, which is pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical. Go figure. So, of course, Title 21 is going to be the most important. All right, so Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, Title 21, that's what we refer to over and over and over and over and over. And we have a way that we write this. We actually put the 21 out in front, so 21 CFR, and then blah, 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 blah. All right, so there's other things that are going to follow this, but 21 CFR is the way that we say it. 21 CFR is the way we reference it. And we'll be talking about quite a bit of this throughout our time in the BioWork course together. So the Code of Federal Regulations is basically a list of what we're going to call laws and regulations. It is basically a blueprint for me, if I was a facility, to go by to figure out what I need to do in order to make these types of products. And then those laws and those regulations are going to filter on down because that facility, that company, is going to have to implement certain pieces of this to their employees. And they want to make sure their employees are following these laws and these rules and these regulations. So that way they can make sure that they are doing their job correctly in the eyes of the United States government and the CFR. So Title 21 is going to be basically the food and drug area. There's tons of different titles. But 21 is going to be the most important to us. Not the only one, but I'm going to say the most important priority for us. And it includes expectations that the government has on especially manufacturers, but biomanufacturers, life science industries, pharmaceutical labs. That is what you're going to find here. So the food and drug, there is another little piece here that I can add on, and this is cosmetics. They don't do a lot with cosmetics, and we abbreviate this food, drug, and cosmetics thing as FD and C. That is what that abbreviation stands for. But, you know, the cosmetic industry is so funny because is something classified as a drug or is something classified as a cosmetic? So, for instance, if you go to the Walmart or the Target and you pick up a box of toothpaste, did you know that toothpaste is not a cosmetic? That is not what that, even though I find it in the cosmetic aisle, Tracy, you're crazy. No, really, it is not classified as a cosmetic. The toothpaste is going to be purchased by a consumer in order to prevent something from happening. And that prevention is all about cavities. So you are buying a product and your intention is you are purchasing it not to make you look pretty, but to actually purchase it, to use it, to prevent something from happening later down the road. So therefore, toothpaste is somewhat classified as a drug. Did you ever know that? Maybe not, but now you did. You just learned something in your BioWork class. Oh gosh, go tell your family. Well, okay, that's how this process is working. So cosmetic does fall under this a little bit, not much, but cosmetics is going to find its home somewhere else. A little bit more in bulk, a little bit more in depth, but not necessarily Title 21 at all. All right. Title 21, a portion of that, again, CFR, that is a bigger collection of rules and regulations, it is going to outline what we call cGMP. And the G stands for good, and the M stands for, oh no, what did I do? I just scribbled and the whole screen shook. I think an earthquake happened in my house. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that little scribble. All right, so the M is going to stand for manufacturing, and the P is going to stand for practices. So the 21 CFR, part of this title, they are going to focus on cGMP. And cGMP, I'm going to go, and the reason is because it's very important. If I'm going to be getting a job on the manufacturing line, you better believe I'm going to have to pay attention to the GMP, because M is manufacturing, and that's the side that I'm working on. Oh, no. So the cGMP is good manufacturing practices. And then you're looking at this and saying, well, what does the C stand for, Trace? Okay, well, the C stands for current. So these are current good manufacturing practices. Now, with that said, I do want you to understand that if you are coming from a different area of the college and your idea is to maybe be working on the laboratory side of the house, that's great, but you're not out of the woods either, little Taylor Swift, because the GLP is good laboratory practices. That's what that one is. So you've got to follow a different set of expectations that the CFR has basically placed onto your employer. And the manufacturers will also have to follow some expectations that the government, CFR, has placed on that employer. So that's okay. That's not a problem. But we do treat these areas as somewhat separate because they are behaving mostly in separate areas of the facility or the company that you are working for. So the cGMP, current good manufacturing practices, as you can imagine, gives us some ideas of a few things. Number one, it gives us rules for every aspect of the manufacturing that is taking place at that facility, or what they should be doing at that facility. That also includes not just the manufacturing of the product, but also the labeling of the product. That is also very important. So they're going to give us kind of some ideas on how this should be made, how this should be labeled. You're also going to see them give you ideas on how it should be marketed. They're going to step in with that as well. So marketing is going to be a thing. They're also going to step in and tell you a little bit about packaging. So these companies can't just do whatever they want to do. You know, if they're going to make a drug product, that's great. So they're going to be approved to make it, whatever. But there's going to be rules and regulations in place from that moment on, from the time that the first step is performed to the very last step. Everything is going to be controlled, because we can't just let you do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, and make some product that ends up into some consumer's hands. It's just not going to work. So that is the purpose of the CFR. Now, there are similar kinds of things here that other countries have to go through, but you need to keep in mind the CFR is United States only. That's it. So if the product is going to be made in the United States, this is what has to be done. That is the purpose of the Code of Federal Regulations. We can't go tell China what to do. We can't go and tell Australia what to do. We can't go and tell the European Union what to do. We can't go and tell Japan what to do. That is not how this works. So this is for the United States only. And we'll talk again more about that later in the course. All right. 21 CFR, you do own a copy of this, by the way. And your copy is an electronic version. You are a taxpayer. And if you're not a taxpayer directly, you probably know someone that is a taxpayer at least. AKA someone with a paycheck. They are actually funding the electronic version of the CFR through the taxes that they pay out in their paychecks all year long. Oh gosh, oh Uncle Sam, good old taking my pocket. And the electronic version is very free. You can access this online. The only thing that you've got to do is go to a website and type in ecfr.gov, G-O-V. You can just type in ECFR if you want to in Google and let it search it. It'll probably be one of the first links that will pop up. Click it. And you can go in there and you can look at all of the Code of Federal Regulations. So you can go through all the titles, scroll through, take a look at what they're kind of rule and regulating. So go all the way down to Title 21. You'll see it listed. Click that hyperlink. And when you click the hyperlink, there'll be kind of a subsection that shows up. And these are kind of like chapters in a way. So you go through and it will kind of break it down and you'll see all the chapter numbers. And it was like, well, click here for more information on this and click here for more information on that. It is very organized, but it is also very electronic. And the electronic versions are constantly updated. So as of today, or as of the last time it was updated, then you will see the most current version of the Code of Federal Regulations for you. So very easily to access off the internet. I'm not going to ask you to go there and visit it or do anything. If you want to, it's very quick just to go through the motions of it. Please do it. Get yourself familiar with kind of what that is, because the CFR really does play a very strong impact on our jobs in the laboratory side of the house, as well on the manufacturing side of the house. In that section, you're going to find different kind of acknowledgments to cGMP, again, current, good manufacturing practices, and it is a set of minimum. It is a set of minimum standards for the manufacturing set by the Food and Drug Administration. So that means the companies can go above and beyond this if they want to, absolutely. But the company will make that decision. But these are the basics. This is what has to be followed. This is what has to be done. Otherwise, we are intervening, and we're going to figure out how your facility and your employer, if that's who you're working for, can get back on track to make sure that they meet these rules and regulations that are enforced by the Food and the Drug Administration, or the FDA. GMPs are always revised. That's why we say current. A facility cannot be like, well, back in the day when I was like a young little spring chicken, this is how we used to do it, and that's how we're doing it today. No, that's not how any of this works. It is constantly changing. It's constantly updating. There's new and new information that is, and equipment and instrumentation that is always part of our jobs that we do on a daily basis. So things move quick, and technology moves fast, and equipment gets updated quickly. So these current good manufacturing practices are of today. It is not of 20 years ago when you first started your career, or 30 years ago when you first started your career, or worked for a company that made a drug a different way at that time. That is not how any of this works. So because of that, they felt that it was very important to put a C in front of cGMPs. All right. Next up, the cGMPs are going to be in place for a couple of reasons, and we want to make sure that these products that we are making are what we call sufficient quality. Oh, how sweet. When you purchase something in a grocery store, don't you want it to be quality? Of course you do. Let's say that you're buying a new computer and you're going to go out and you're going to kind of look and shop around, and you're going to be like, I think this is what I want to do, but I'm just not going to buy it blinded. I'm going to look up a Google review. Or I'm on Amazon and I'm scrolling through something for me to buy. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find something for me to purchase and give my money to Amazon with off of my hard-earned paycheck. So I'm scrolling, and they're going to give me all kinds of suggestions, and I'm going to go, whoa, that's for me. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I think I want it. Well, I'm going to click on the reviews, and I'm going to see, is it quality? Is it good? Do people like it? Do people enjoy it? Okay, well, pharmaceutical drugs, biopharmaceutical drugs, they are the same way. You want to make sure that these are quality before you pump them out to the consumer that's going to end up taking these on the back end. So you got to make sure quality is in place. And all of these companies are required by law to follow these cGMPs that are included by the FDA and the Code of Federal Regulations. There's no way out, folks. There's no excuses. You can't say, oh no, I didn't know this. No, that is part of your job. It is part of the facility's understanding to know this is what they should have been doing since day one when they opened up their doors. And this is what you should have been doing since day one when you walked in and got the job. So there's got to be things in place, and it's got to be organized. It has to be structured. And hence, this is why I say it's like reading the back of a cake box. You go read the back of a cake box, and it's going to tell you, preheat oven to 350. You're going to do it. Grease the pan. You're going to do it. Mix these things together. You're going to do it. Do 50 strokes. Okay, you're going to do it. And then pour the brownie batter in the pan and then bake it for 35 minutes. You're going to do it. If you can read those steps, you have just done your first task in biomanufacturing in a way, because you have followed a standard operating procedure. And that is what these jobs are. You need to make sure that you follow those steps as written. You mix and you blend and you bake and you take it out after the certain time limit. That's what this is. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, but overall, it's not bad. So the importance of cGMP really finds its way in a number of different areas. So on the image that you're seeing here, number one, it says, well, you're going to give consumers confidence, and that confidence means that they can take that drug and they can feel safe when they swallow it, or when they inject it, or when they breathe it in, absolutely, or when they rub it on their little sore muscles. All right, well, higher consumer confidence is a great thing, because that means they trust you, and they trust you that you are making a quality product on the manufacturing line, hence M for manufacturing. Next up, fewer recalls and product liability issues. I don't know how many times that I have seen articles and it's like, recall, recall, recall. This has got listeria. This has got salmonella. This has got E. coli. Okay, well, if that goes on and it happens all the time, as a consumer, you begin to kind of second question everything or second guess everything. So, oh no, Chipotle's got an E. coli outbreak. Where did it happen? I'm not going to eat Chipotle anymore for a couple of months. And that's exactly what gets experienced in the real world. These are things that do happen, and you do not want to be working for a company that constantly gets recalls over certain things, because it just makes the consumers not trust you and your company and the job that you're doing. Number 3, enhance the brand value. So that means, hey, okay, well, you know, I'm kind of purchasing a cat food here, and it looks like this cat food has never been recalled for any purpose. It looks like it's never been kind of slapped on the wrist and said, oh no, you got contamination. Oh no, there's heavy metals present. Oh no, there's little metal fragments in the food. Well, when you don't see those types of reports, it makes you feel really good, and that makes your brand value go up, which means, hey, I can charge maybe a little bit more. People understand the brand that I carry. People understand that our brand is very high quality. So they're going to pay a little bit more maybe for that higher quality types of products, because we are ensuring that we are doing our job the proper way. Next up, number 4 is the facilitation of international trade. So if I'm working for a company and I'm not doing my job the proper way, and we're making product and that product is kind of crappy and there's no quality in it, you can imagine that all of these other kind of foreign countries, they're going to start questioning our company. They're going to be like, nah, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to buy anything from you. I'm not going to import anything from that company. I don't trust you to make a product at all. I'm not going to hire you to do anything for us either. Well, okay, you don't want that to happen. You want your company to be global. You want your company to be making products that can be sold around the globe and internationally, of course. Number 5, improved efficiency and customer satisfaction. Once you get quality in place, and if you follow that quality and you follow those rules and you follow those steps and everything is going according to plan, efficiency goes through the roof. That means that you can do your job, and you can do your job the right way every single time. You do your job according to plan. There's no mishaps, there's no mistakes, and that just keeps that system flowing. And we love that in a factory type of manufacturing type of setting. Next up, regulatory compliance. You've got to do it, folks. Regulatories, aka auditors, will come in and they will begin to take a look at what goes on, and they will begin to scrutinize everything that they see, and they will go back and they will write a report. Well, we've got to follow cGMPs, and that way when those auditors come in-house, they cannot write up a report for the facility and be like, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is what your employees are not doing correctly. So if we are following our SOPs, if we are following our steps in place, then I don't really have to worry about this, and a company doesn't have to worry about my performance as a worker either. So regulatory compliance are another thing that we've got to kind of keep into consideration when we talk about the importance of cGMPs. All right, so that's where this video is going to stop. In the next one, we're going to keep talking about cGMPs. A little bit of a history lesson is going to happen here, and that's where we'll pick up. So come back and see me. You've now spent 30 minutes in lecture, so you're not even kind of did and completed a full hour's worth yet if you had to meet me in person and sit in a seat and look at my crazy face as I begin to lecture. So come back, watch another 2 or 3 videos before you walk away and take a break.